You feel pain like no other pain, and you know that in your life it's going to be very difficult to...
In some way, the internet decided that Serena Williams' injury was the ideal moment for stand-up comedy. It appears that losing one match at the age of 43 is more spectacular than staying at the top of tennis for almost 30 years. The crazy thing is that, prior to things going wrong, Serena was actually playing far better than many had anticipated while former champions were busy giving retiring speeches. So, how did an uplifting performance get rewritten into a global roast? The answer is even more bizarre than the memes. Serena Williams is eliminated from the Wimbledon opening round. And that is all I have to say. How these women will portray Serena Williams as if their lives depended on it never ceases to astound me. Maya Joint had lost 11 straight games. She had lost all 11 of her previous games. Maya Joint faced a 44-year-old Serena Williams, who hasn't played in 4 years. Some people no longer compare Serena Williams to other athletes since she has attained the peculiar level of athletic greatness. They compare her to the unrealized version of herself that has been in their recollections for almost 30 years. Serena made an unsuccessful attempt to return to the field. She lost the first round after getting her ass kicked. And you know what she declined to do? The post-event news conference, which she deemed to be generally unacceptable. She is an overbearing diva. She didn't want to be forced to answer questions from reporters. According to a report that surfaced today, she was complaining to the Wimbledon organizers about her refusal to do that, and since she lost, they took away her ability to use the moment she sets foot on a tennis court. Expectations seemed to return to the days when opponents appeared defeated before the warm-up even ended. The internet then responds as if it has discovered some startling secret when reality reminds everyone that even legends are human. Serena Williams has made headlines. Why? Because she traveled to New York to help her buddy Kim Kardashian with her Nike endeavors. Additionally, Serena Williams, a musician, was in town to attend it. She's also in a hotel. Which hotel she was staying at is unknown to us. She didn't make that public. However, Maureen Serena Williams, one of the wealthiest Americans living, was snorts set off by something, and I'll show you what it was. Alright, everyone. How do we feel about decorating with cotton? That is precisely what happened following Serena's most recent appearance, when an unlucky injury overshadowed what was actually a really outstanding performance. Parts of social media instantly turned into a competition to see who could make the cruelest joke, rather than recognizing the caliber of her tennis and the incredible work needed to compete at the top level at 43. Well, gentlemen, yesterday Serena Williams made her return to Wimbledon for the first time in 4 years. I made a film on this, people, and I can assure you that it might not work out well for her. One of the greatest of all time is Serena Williams. You really don't want to go out there and make a fool of yourself if you're an all-time great. I love Rafa Nadal so much. It was brutal to watch Rafa Nadal play in the French Open the last time. Every time Serena participates, it almost seems like a strange custom. Millions of people rejoice at the opportunity to see one of the greatest athletes take up a racket once more before the match starts. The reason she dominated the sport for so long is remembered by those same spectators throughout the match because she still possesses intelligence, power, and, perhaps most importantly, a fierce competitive spirit. Then, if something goes wrong, a completely new mob arises on the internet, behaving as if they've been waiting years for the slightest chance to celebrate a failure. Given that Serena has gained nearly universal respect over her career, this is an intriguing contrast. However, whenever she encounters completely normal human limitations, she also continues to draw an exceptional amount of criticism. The most disappointing aspect is that the topic of tennis was soon dropped from the conversation. Although injuries are never enjoyable, there is an additional emotional burden when a player who has already given their all to the sport sustains one. Serena has already conquered every challenge tennis presents. She has won Olympic gold medals, Grand Slam titles, weeks at the top of the global rankings, and triumphs that have motivated athletes all around the world. There is nothing more for her to prove. Nevertheless, because her passion for the game has never faded, she continued to compete and pursue another moment on the court. That's why a lot of fans reacted with sympathy instead of contempt right away. They were fully aware of what they were witnessing. They didn't think Serena would go back to 2013 or 2015, when she started training less than 3 months. I'm obviously going to be a little more impassioned about this than the average person because Serena Williams was my childhood idol, but I don't believe you guys realize how amazing yesterday was. Yesterday, Serena Williams faced off against a 20-year-old. She is more than twice as old. By the time my joint was born, she had won 7 Grand Slam singles. They really enjoyed witnessing one of the best athletes in history compete once again. Every forceful serve, explosive forehand, and resolute runs served as a reminder of why her name was initially associated with greatness. Paradoxically, the injury happened at a time when many onlookers were starting to appreciate Serena's true sharpness. Her timing was exceptionally superb for the length of time she had been away from elite competition. Her ability to manage rallies with restrained intensity revealed glimmers of the player who haunted the WTA Tour for years, and her anticipation remained remarkable. It would be impossible for an impartial observer to say that she appeared overwhelmed by the situation. In fact, she appeared capable of putting together another outstanding performance on multiple occasions. Tennis has always been a sport where context mattered immensely. A first-round exit may indicate a terrible performance or just bad luck. In Serena's situation, the latter argument fits significantly more accurately because physical discomfort transformed the entire complexion of the match. Even the best tennis players in history are vulnerable when their movement is hampered. Aging in elite sports is another uncomfortable reality that many fans would rather overlook until it impacts their favorite star. Alright, at the end of the video, she uses one of the cotton balls she picked from the plant to buff her nails before doing the EU hand motion, which is similar to shaking your hands in disgust and dropping the ball. Since cotton was once harvested by slaves and Serena Williams is a black American, I assume that cotton triggers her. The year is 2025. According to Forbes, Serena Williams is valued at $350 million. Well, she is married to a very wealthy man. While longevity is still an abstract concept, everyone praises it. People enjoy hearing records spanning generations and statistics about professions lasting decades. However, when the physical obstacles of aging eventually come, sympathy sometimes disappears alongside them. All of a sudden, the same admirers who applauded longevity start condemning its inherent drawbacks. Serena is trying something incredibly challenging at the age of 43. Explosive acceleration, frequent direction changes, extreme endurance, and remarkable recuperation between games are all necessary for professional tennis. No matter how conscientious an athlete is, those physical demands are more demanding every year. Legends have never requested autographs from biology. Highlight reels and trophy cabinets don't matter to it. It's incredible that at this point in her life, she can still lead strong rallies against great competition. Professional athletes half her age find it difficult to sustain that level of energy over a whole game. Serena kept doing so. This may be the point at which perspective is crucial. Serena is no longer creating her legacy. Years ago, she finished that mission with. Instead of dictating how history will remember her, each appearance now adds a new chapter to an already illustrious career. The innumerable events that permanently changed women's tennis will never be erased, whether or not she wins another championship. The extent to which Serena altered expectations in the sport is frequently overlooked. Without compromising her agility, she redefined power tennis. She proved that mental toughness might be just as frightening as physical strength. You know, like the town cars that transport you everywhere. She had one for her mother, one for her sister, and one for her trainer. However, they responded, "We're no longer going to pay for those 5 black cars." After she lost with 5, she apparently complained as well. Throughout the competition, she desired them. Forget about it. The report is finished. I'm tired of this woman acting like a diva. I regret to inform you that Serena Williams believes she is the queen bee when she returns to Wimbledon. Those times have passed. There are new stars on the court, and even if you'll always have a significant role in tennis, that day Serena inspired a great number of young players who now play professionally because they first witnessed her seemingly effortless victories. Because Serena spent years making the extraordinary seem commonplace, entire generations have grown up believing that incredible accomplishments are attainable. Oddly enough, that accomplishment might have led to inflated expectations for her latter years. Some fans now anticipate miracles every time Serena participates because they have grown so used to witnessing her overcome every challenge. If she prevails, everyone's preconceived notions are validated. Critics act as if her grandeur has suddenly disappeared if she loses. Because elite sport has always existed somewhere in between those two extremes, neither response fully captures reality. It takes a certain type of admiration to watch Serena compete these days. Legendary athletes often retire because they are afraid of tarnishing their reputation. Serena has always prioritized competition over comfort, acknowledging that both wins and losses are a part of the narrative. Instead of being mocked, that willingness merits praise. Perfect endings have never been the main focus of sport. Sometimes the most inspirational moments arise because athletes keep pushing themselves even if they are aware that success is no longer assured. Every time Serena sets foot on a court, she embraces that spirit. Sadly, social media frequently encourages the opposite mindset. Sarcasm often garners more attention than careful analysis, and outrage spreads more quickly than empathy. She ought to have a plan for her life. Unfortunately, she will probably be blown out of the water in her next match. That's not to say Serena was playing well, though. She wasn't. Serena Williams' self-doubt was evident, and that it will undoubtedly take her a few more reps and sets to get comfortable because, in this game, she kept treating a lot of balls as if they were going to go out, and they act accordingly. Within minutes of the injury, numerous posts appeared that made fun of her age, celebrated the defeat, or implied that she should never have come back. Many of those remarks completely disregarded the tennis itself. Instead of comprehending what had transpired, they concentrated only on making jokes that went viral. The ease with which compassion vanishes behind anonymous usernames is astounding. If a 43-year-old athlete were to sustain an injury in person, most people would never laugh. They would probably congratulate her on the effort and wish her a quick recovery. However, there are instances where online settings promote actions that would be wholly inappropriate in person. Fortunately, the reaction was far from wholly negative. Fans, retired athletes, journalists, and other athletes all voiced worry for Serena's health right away. Every time Serena competes, her aura is evident. Because they are aware that they are witnessing a once-in-a-generation champion, the crowds stay committed to every point. It's common for younger players to talk about sharing the court with Serena as if they're up against living history. It is impossible to fake that respect. It is the result of decades of greatness. The injury is more upsetting because of another aspect of this story. Her involvement in doubles and the possibility that her physical condition might keep her from continuing were immediately questioned. Now, for years have passed since Serena Williams last competed at Wimbledon, and I think she lost in the third round. She also played a 20-year-old, I think from Australia or the UK, yesterday. I can't recall precisely. She didn't win. Now, the fact that she lost is not shocking. I will admit, though, that she did not humiliate herself. In 3 sets, she was defeated. Serena has frequently had some of the most memorable moments of her career while playing doubles, particularly with her sister Venus. Fans may enjoy Serena's amazing intuition, strong returns, and tactical acumen in a slightly different environment when she competes in doubles, even with different partners. Supporters were naturally concerned that an injury might interfere with those plans. Nobody loves seeing an athlete pushed away from competition by circumstances beyond their control. Regardless of which player someone supports, injuries deny spectators opportunities to watch amazing performances. Before stories come to a satisfying finish, they interrupt them. However, there is still cause for cautious hope. Today's professional athletes have access to medical knowledge, recuperation strategies, and rehabilitation treatments that were unthinkable for earlier generations. Throughout her career, Serena has overcome obstacles that would have put an end to many others. She always found a way to end the conversation when someone said she was done. Supporters are naturally inspired to think that another recovery is yet feasible by those recollections. Even if this specific setback restricts her immediate intentions, her on-court performance should never be overshadowed by it. Serena demonstrated that she is still capable of producing moments of brilliance against elite opponents in tennis, which is still an extremely difficult sport. She kept scoring free points on her serve. Her ground strokes kept excellent depth and speed. she continued to have a profound sense of momentum. When a match is cut short by an untimely injury, those attributes do not vanish. Talk about Serena Williams, the tennis star. Her absurd, strange, and out-of-touch video, in which she claims that a hotel's cotton plant or cotton-related art fixture offends her, has gone viral. Let's watch the video. How do we all feel about using cotton for decoration? It doesn't feel well for me personally. In fact, it feels like cotton doesn't need to be polished. Organic. The most important takeaway from the entire episode may be more about fans than Serena. Sometimes, modern sports culture becomes so fixated on instant outcomes that it loses sight of the importance of remarkable careers in the present. People hurry to declare ends, rate failures, and create memes before emotions have even subsided, rather than honoring athletes while they are still competing. Serena's influence goes much beyond individual competitions. Thus, she deserves better than that. Throughout one of the most prosperous careers tennis has ever seen, she inspired millions of people worldwide, changed discussions about women's sports, and showed incredible fortitude. Since normal athletes never set those expectations in the first place, nobody expects them to work miracles at 43. Unintentionally, Serena's greatest achievement led to unreasonable parallels with her own illustrious past. When considered impartially, her most recent performance ought to arouse appreciation rather than mockery. Despite being aware that every move she made would be closely watched, she entered one of the biggest tennis stages. She competed fiercely, showed moments of exceptional talent, and, regrettably, suffered an injury that completely altered her life. Hello. Good morning. This is a statement to the US Open authorities and the USTA. Serena Williams should have received a wild card invitation from you yesterday. What do you mean by a 44-year-old woman who has given birth to 2 children, participated in her first singles match in 4 years, and looked like that? Additionally, according to her agent, she hasn't played tennis regularly since April. That is, she hasn't practiced, trained, or hit every day. Critics looking for easy chuckles should not celebrate that sequence. Instead, they should grasp it. One fact cannot be disregarded as the discussion progressively moves toward recovery and potential double involvement. Serena Williams keeps reminding the sports world that legends belong in a different category. Trophies won during a physical peak are not the only indicator of greatness. It also revealed tenacity, resilience, and the resolve to compete long after comfort would have indicated retirement. Long after the score from this particular contest fades from memory, people will remember something far more meaningful. They will recall that one of the greatest tennis champions in history never stopped motivating spectators with tenacity rather than perfection. They will keep in mind that Serena continued to create tennis that thrilled crowds despite the physical realities of aging. A terrible accident cannot erase decades of talent, and a first-round defeat definitely cannot lessen a legacy created through continuous performance. If anything, witnessing Serena persevere in the face of every challenge ought to serve as a reminder to everyone of why real champions are respected long after the simplest triumphs have been forgotten.